Good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending on where you are. Spiritual community, this is Ebony Gnosticism, and I wasn't gonna post a video for at least another week, but I've had some interesting experiences within the last 30 hours of my waking experience here, right? So I just wanted to get out here and talk about a couple things. In my wilderness out here in the Midwest, it's kind of rainy today, so I'm out here getting rained on, but I do this as much for you as I do myself, and a lot of the times I feel like I'm honestly just talking to myself in these videos, trying to realize things or, come to some sort of a conclusion about stuff myself. But anyway, yesterday, now if you've seen my other video post, you probably understand that I've been going through a process of implementing discipline. I call it the hard method because it takes more patience and more repetition than just continuously beating yourself up about being imperfect. So in this method, then, I've been able to realize a few things. My mind's been a lot more clear. I've been experiencing a lot. And then yesterday, I get to a point in my discipline where I'm doing very well, so I get kind of laxed. And not in the sense of losing my sense of discipline, right? That didn't change. It's more my idea of how I felt on this path. I'm a fire sign, so I have this burning drive, this competitiveness. And I end up kind of just, for a few hours, cutting down and relaxing on myself, and nothing changed. I went to bed early for me, and did my meditations and retained my chi, my prana, my energies, and worked on myself. And today I wake up in this fog, that depressive fog that I mentioned in the videos. And so I'm doing this video because I don't think this is a part that a lot of the spiritual community is going to put online, and it could be wrong. This can be my veil of a perception, especially today. But it doesn't seem like most people are going to put out content concerning when times aren't shining. You feel me? Like, it's easy to post your content, and it's easy to let people in when things are going right. Notice, right. It's harder to put content out here when you don't feel like the greatest, or when things don't seem so bright and sunny out. Per today, it's a lot darker out here earlier. The moment I come out, it's like it just starts lighting up and everything's a lot more clear. Within the last couple of weeks, I've been experiencing what you would call spiritual warfare. Now, for someone like me who is quite physically capable of protecting and taking care of himself, what I cannot defend so very well is the spiritual aspect of warfare, where whatever forces you see it as, whether that's light and dark, God and Satan, shadow self, higher self, ego, pure consciousness, Tao, however you put it. It's the aspect of waging a war with forces that are directly opposing your path of righteousness. And I feel like that's what I've been dealing with. And the thing about it is, these forms, this opposition, it does come in different forms. It comes in ways that you never expect them to come, right? It comes in thoughts for some people. I know I've heard videos of people having sleep paralysis, and for some, that's a sign of progress, being able to do things that they want to do, and for others, it's quite terrifying. Different forms. For some, it's in a form of panic attacks, mental attacks, where you just feel like you're gonna die. But a lot of people, they don't attribute that to being a spiritual warfare tactic. But to me, it varies. Like, I've seen it come in panic attacks. I've seen it come in moments of uncertainty, like mental duress in a way. And then I've seen it come in people. Now, to me, how this happens is you have these vessels, right? These meat suits that we are. Very important vessel. Don't get me wrong. I'm grateful for having a body that operates the way that it does, and that's healthy, especially coming from where I was just a couple months ago. But there's also the situation of being in this vessel and attaching your identity to this vessel and all of its intricate needs and desires, right? So you have people such as myself who battled with addiction, who battle with things they know aren't right. They abuse these things, right? And you abuse them so much that you lower your vibration. And through lowering your vibration, not being able to realize your true potential, not being really aligned with who you are, because we're not here to destroy ourselves and deteriorate the vessel. These vessels are a link of experience to this human scenario. You feel me? It's a way for us to connect to this realm. You can only be human on Earth. So people get tied into that living, the physical part, and they're not connected spiritually, even though they may wear a badge of spirituality as a way to justify treating people a certain way or give them reason in a way. They're not connected to the spiritual. They're not connected to the Most High. They're not connected to God. They're not in line with the universe. I'm in a part. But anyway, so they end up not being connected, and what this causes is to me, it's a lack of connection with the body, or a lack of connection with your spirit self, which means you're more than likely going to run into lower level entities. And again, this can vary from culture to culture, but in other words, demons or evil spirits, and that's just a matter of perspective. To me, it's a lower level entity. And these entities, whether evil or not, they feed off certain levels of energy, I believe. Like, people who are lower vibe, they still have energy. That energy is just way more accessible because their defenses aren't up. And so when you're abusing things, when you're detached from your humanity, what it means to be human, really, what it means to be spirit, then you leave your vessel open for these entities to feed off you in multiple different ways. One way I've noticed, and this occurs really in the 3D realm of life, right? So one way is through words, how you affect someone else, how you are speaking to someone else, how you're treating people. You know how they say hurt people hurt people? Well, what if hurt people are literally people who are so low in the vibrational, emotional level that they allow themselves to be open to being controlled by these lower level entities, because these lower level entities are feeding off their energy. What about that? That's something I've been mulling over, and I'm telling you today, after a day of discipline, after a day of self-awareness, after a day of pushing through, doing things that I know are gonna benefit me in the long run and not just gonna, got the train coming. Things that are not just gonna benefit me in an immediate gratifying sort of way. Just doing things that I know are right, when I feel are right. The day that I do that, the day that I do it the best that I've done it, the next day I'm in a spiritual warfare. The next day I'm being attacked in ways that most people wouldn't believe. From text received by people I don't even really associate with, who would never really text me directly, to neighbors and certain comments regarding political issues that I'm gonna discuss that later on this channel too. Don't get it twisted. There's still a lot to say regarding what's going on, and a lot of it's not right. And I'm gonna make my stance known on that too. But that's another video. Just neighbors and their political beliefs, and social media, and it's a useful tool, but it's a low vibrational trap, to be honest. It's a low vibrational trap, and a lot of what's on there is literally fear, promoting fear. It's a fear-mongering tactic. It promotes division. You have one stance that is completely elaborated on in one extreme of a situation, and then you have the complete opposite. There's literally no middle ground on the internet. There's no middle ground on the social. You gotta be careful with that stuff too. So yeah, just these attacks, man. Just attacks. And because it manifested itself in a way in which I'm very, very familiar with, but like, you know, my depression, the depression that I can feel, it's controllable. It's something that doesn't really bother me as much as other aspects of my my psyche. But yeah, it reared itself in this way, which ended up manifesting a few responses that I'm not quite proud of, but you know, I'm gonna keep it moving. I'm gonna keep it strong, and I'm not gonna allow spiritual warfare to control my path. Because at the end of the day, even though you might have a lot of outside influences, you're the one to blame for your bullshit. You choose when you want to get out of a situation. Where that camera at? Right here. You choose when you want to change something. Hey, it's your boy Ebony G. Just giving you thanks for checking out my video. If you found it informative or entertaining, do me a solid and share, like, and subscribe. Also, I'll have a list of my social media hubs somewhere down here, so feel free to check into those. And as always, high vibes and quick minds, my friends.